you are a distributor or customer of GNLD, you probably already know the name Dr. Arthur First and have some idea of this amazing man. If you're just learning about our company, however, the name Arthur First is one you are definitely going to want to remember. As the senior member of the Scientific Advisory Board, Dr. First is often referred to as the spirit of what has become the strongest scientific body in our industry, the GNLD SAB. Grounded in the philosophy of science working with nature, the SAB is a team of world-leading scientists that are dedicated to and reflect the principles and practices of this incredible man. Always ahead of his time, Dr. First is one reason why GNLD has become a world leader in product science and technology. Through his in-depth understanding of the science of nature and the nature of science, he has played a huge role in attaining and maintaining GNLD's position at the leading edge. So sit back now and enjoy a closer look at one of the great minds of this century, and see how he has touched not only the lives of all of us that are part of GNLD, but the lives of people everywhere.
Arthur First is the author of more than 250 scientific publications, a member of 15 scientific societies, and the recipient of many honors, including being named Diplomate of the Academy of Toxicological Sciences, a distinction bestowed upon less than 100 people worldwide. He has served as a visiting scholar to many universities and as a consultant to several prestigious institutions, including the World Health Organization and the Environmental Protection Agency. Listed in more than 10 different Who's Who publications, he is widely recognized as the father of toxicology. Ironically, one of Dr. First's most important achievements is largely unknown.
Well, many years ago, I got the idea that cancer could be treated orally rather than by just simply injecting people intravenously for some time. And I tried this on my animals, first of all. I did inject the material, and then I took some chemical and fed it to my animals, and I got the same results whether I inject them or I fed them. And this changed the whole history of cancer chemotherapy. It then became an oral method of treating patients, which is done today.
Oral chemotherapy is one of the things that he had thought of long time before anybody even had any idea that would work. And so he was way before his time. But of course now everybody knows he's right.
In modern days, most people who discover something try to patent it at once. But many years ago, I made a philosophical decision that anything I do in cancer must be in public domain. So I've never published it, I've never patented anything, even though I've published. And this goes through other chemicals besides the oral chemotherapy.
I don't think most people realize that Dr. First was one of the principals involved in that discovery. It's truly an amazing discovery and has led to saving millions and millions of people's lives over the years. And through that has, again, reached out and touched virtually everybody on the planet.
With continued research, Dr. First became aware that cancer cells became resistant to treatment. Soon, he and some of his contemporaries began citing the need to treat cancer with a combination of drugs rather than just one drug at a time. Today, these two discoveries are considered standard procedure for nearly all doctors who treat cancer. Once Dr. First made headway in the area of treating cancer, he moved on to try to find its cause. One of Dr. First's most profound theories surfaced 25 years ago. Much to his dismay, his idea that there is a direct correlation between diet and risk for cancer was laughed at by the scientific community. Today, of course, it is heralded as the gospel.
Back in the 1970s, scientists who came out strongly in favor of nutritional supplementation as a means of protecting one's health were far and away not the mainstream. In fact, there were many people who viewed scientists who supported that belief as somehow being on the fringe, or maybe not, certainly not in the mainstreams.
When I first gave the talk on the fact that diet may play a major role, who gets cancer, who does not, it was not accepted. I was supposed to give a series of lectures throughout the state of California, and the scientists themselves didn't quite believe me. The net result is the series of lectures were canceled. And I have to admit, I was terribly depressed and disappointed.
As difficult as that was for Arthur, this wasn't the first time he felt rejection and isolation. At the age of 4, both of his parents died in the same week during the 1918 influenza epidemic. Arthur, his older sister, and younger brother were all placed in an orphanage for a time. As first-generation Russian immigrants, the family was poor, and the matriarch, Arthur's grandmother, decided all 3 children could not be taken in. She felt an orphanage was no place for a baby and would be too difficult for a girl. So, as the oldest male, Arthur was left alone, not to be reunited again with his siblings until reaching adulthood. Through the years, Arthur was moved from orphanages in Chicago to Los Angeles. Although the memory of his early childhood is completely blocked for Arthur, he knows he was taken in by an aunt and uncle sometime before entering the 5th grade.
First of all, let me say, I'm first generation here. Family did not speak English at home, and the net result is it turned out that I had a unusual IQ when I was in elementary and junior high school. I did very well at school, but the net result is I was discouraged from going to college because my IQ did not fit in what the general pattern would be. And as far as a student went, high school, I did very, very well. The net result is I was in conflict whether to go to college or not. And one of my history teachers encouraged me to go ahead and go to college.
And without any encouragement from his aunt and uncle, that's exactly what he did.
I was in high school right after the Depression started, and the net result is most people did not go on to college, and my aunt and uncle were very much against my going to college. They thought I should graduate high school and get a job right now, and therefore no way would they support me if I wanted to go through college, and therefore had to do it all myself if I wanted to go.
He would do his courses, he would be in the lab until about 5 o'clock, and then he would have to go off and do his job to earn the money to support him while he was here. So he would be working until midnight or 2 in the morning, 5 days a week. And then after that, he would be doing his homework often by streetlight. That was the illumination. He had to do his work with streetlight.
Forced to work his way through school, Arthur took on odd jobs such as parking cars. To save money, he moved out of his dorm room for a couple of summers and lived on the beach. This didn't seem like anything unusual to Arthur, just a small price to pay to achieve his goals. Arthur went on to get his bachelor's and master's degrees in chemistry, as well as a teaching credential from UCLA. But there was a time when his career could have taken a decidedly different direction.
When I entered UCLA, I had a problem deciding what my major should be. I always liked rhythm, I always liked dance, and so I became a member of the modern dance group and thought perhaps I would become a professional dancer. But as time went on, it became apparent I would never be the premier dancer, although I loved dancing, and therefore decided to take a major which would be different, and I chose chemistry.
Arthur also soon discovered modern dance was not considered a very macho pastime in the 1930s, and turned to collegiate wrestling as a physical outlet. About the same time, he got involved in a form of gymnastics called swinging clubs. This dying art required continuously swinging large 1.5-pound clubs around the body without ever touching each other or leaving the hand. Arthur became quite skilled at the sport and ranked 4th in the nation. He even qualified for the 1932 Olympic team. Arthur continued with his studies and decided to become a teacher in deference to those who had inspired him. He landed a position teaching chemistry at San Francisco City College. In 1940, his life made another exciting turn when Arthur married fellow UCLA alumnus Florence Wolovich. They started a family right away, which quickly included Carolyn, Adrian, David, and Timothy. During World War II, to make ends meet, Arthur split his time teaching at 3 universities simultaneously. In his spare time, he earned his PhD in chemistry at Stanford University.
He's an excellent teacher in the sense that he's very positive, and he can turn a mediocre student and motivate the students and actually get them to really work in the lab and actually accomplish something.
Always the consummate student, Arthur would later earn an honorary doctorate of science in toxicology from the University of San Francisco in 1983.
When I was about -8 or -9 years old, Art started off in the chemistry department as a professor. He obviously started as a teacher and researcher and scientist. Later on, he founded the Institute for Chemical Biology. But even after he retired, I mean, nobody really noticed the difference. The only difference is we stopped paying him a salary. He did as much work as he did before, perhaps even more.
Perpetually interested in areas that were not widely studied, Arthur continued to explore cancer treatment and its causes. He was soon credited with discovering that certain industrial metals cause cancer. But he had not let go of his strong belief that nutrition and cancer were also directly related.
As I continued my cancer research, I realized that many people who were getting cancer were vitamin deficient. And so I thought it was necessary to have some program which would give these people enough vitamins so they have optimal health. And then I met Mr. Don Pickett, who is the founder of Neolife at the time, which is now GNLD. And Mr. Pickett was very receptive to the idea of having products which would help people. And I was very interested in getting people to have adequate amounts of vitamins and minerals. And so we teamed up, and I became his consultant.
Soon, the company decided to expand its nutritional product line. When John Miller came on board, he and Arthur began assembling a team of top researchers and scientists known as the Scientific Advisory Board. While Dr. First laid a philosophical foundation, the team went to work on creating new products. Together, the Scientific Advisory Board has developed some of the highest quality nutritional supplements available on the market today. In fact, the advancements of the team have been so profound, even the U.S. Department of Agriculture has included GNLD products in their human nutrition studies. While GNLD may be considered a small company by worldwide standards, it attracts and retains scientists who are at the top of their fields internationally. The team works so well together in part because of their respect for one another and the fact that they share Dr. First's desire to improve human health.
One of the things that impressed me most about Arthur was in fact his talent for taking very complicated scientific ideas and being able to translate them relatively easily into product ideas. Because obviously many of the products that GNLD sell today and have sold for many, many years were at the base of what Arthur thought we should be doing many years ago, and now science and technology has shown us he was right.
You know, on one side he's a brilliant person and is always about 3 steps ahead of you in his thoughts when you're talking to him about something. And on the other hand, he's so modest and so human and so willing to help and not presume any importance on himself. He's really a wonderful person.
It's like having your own personal guide through the scientific world who is willing to sit with you and talk with you no matter how silly the question might seem or how far-fetched the concept might be. He was always willing to sit and talk and think it out.
When Art is at an event, the distributors respond by, you know, like a standing ovation and to show their respect and appreciation for what he has done for them as distributors.
Not one to bask in the limelight, Dr. First has always preferred to focus on others. Throughout his career, Arthur has felt a vital need to give back to the community. Although many would argue Arthur has never been given very much during his lifetime. He privately funds 5 endowments for outstanding undergraduate research in a variety of disciplines.
Well, Dr. First established the Arthur First Award for Undergraduate Research in 1991, It's an award that goes to undergraduate students who conduct research at UCLA in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. And it's an award for excellence in research.
I'd like to give you now this plaque. I have it. I'd like to give you a certificate. And above all, I'd love to give you a check.
Confided in us. If there had been an award like the one I want to create here at UCLA, it would have meant the world to me, to be recognized for that, for my love of research. And that's why he decided he was going to create this award, which is endowed, which means it will go on forever in perpetuity. Students will be receiving the Arthur First Award for undergraduate research.
I was both pleased and flattered to find that GNLD established an undergraduate scholarship at the University of San Francisco called the Arthur First Scholarship for Undergraduate Research. And this is given by the university to a student in science who's outstanding.
An endowment very close to Dr. First's heart is one he set up for the Stanford Health Library in memory of his loving wife, Florence.
The Florence First Memorial Fund enables the Health Library to support its mission of providing scientifically based health information to the community.
Although he recently turned 84, Dr. Arthur First shows no signs of slowing down. He continues to welcome challenges in his work and the joys of life. Still conducting research, still helping people to improve their lives, still promoting GNLD, still dancing, still swinging clubs, still laughing. Of course, Dr. Arthur First is a living endorsement for GNLD products and nutritional supplementation. But more importantly, he is a rare, cherished example of how true human spirit can make its mark in the world.
I have a zest for life. I enjoy learning things. I enjoy being creative. And among other things, I enjoy sometimes compliments. And the greatest compliment paid to me was an introduction saying, Dr. Arthur First, the true Renaissance man.